and welcome. My name is Gintaras Gimžauskas. Welcome to today's discussion about the future of cryptocurrency and crypto asset regulation in a global and Lithuanian context. We are excited to explore key trends, opportunities, and challenges in crypto space with our esteemed guest. Joining us today is Philipas van Goethemas, the CEO of Coin Payments. Hello.
Thank you for having me.
And Mykolas Majauskas, President and Board Member of Crypto Economy Organization. Hello.
Thank you.
Philip,
Yes.
how do you see the global crypto market evolving in the next years or few years? What are the major trends that businesses like Coin Payments are capitalizing on?
Well, we've been capitalizing on the growth of this economy since 2013. That was the founding of Coin Payments. We're happy to see that there is more and more adoption, and that is, I think, reflected if you look at the market capitalization of crypto assets as a whole. It has become a $3 trillion market today. It has many applications, and regulation is coming in. So that gives me a confidence that across the world, governments and industries are embracing this technology as a viable alternative to traditional finance. So I think we are very young. We are only starting out. But the future to me looks like there is a transition going on, a transformation from traditional finances into this blockchain technology, which is hard to say where it's going to go, because if you would ask me 3 years ago where we would be today, 3-4 years ago, there were no stable coins, for example. Today, this is a method of transacting over the blockchain that is very common. So where we will be in 4 or 5 years from now is a difficult question to answer, but I'm very hopeful, and I see that there is a lot of opportunity to explore for both traditional and new businesses like ourselves.
Yes, you mentioned regulation. Indeed, European Union has introduced the MiCA regulation. How do you view its impact on the crypto industry? Is it more of an opportunity or a challenge for businesses like yours?
It's both. It's, I think, bringing in regulation is a form of saying from the regulator out and the market that this is a viable business model. This is a technology that we need to take into consideration in our economy. And that requires, obviously, to have certain rules in place on how participants need to act. The transition for us as a market participant to adopt to those new regulations is, of course, a big step. It's a big step forward. We see opportunity in more clarity on how to operate, how to conduct our business, how to protect consumers, and so forth. It also gives a sign to other market participants that we are, if you are regulated, that you're trustworthy, so that it is something that is, promoting future development. On the other hand, as a company, it is a significant effort, both in time and resource, to adopt. We need to make sure that we adhere to all the new rules and regulations as they are being put in place. And this is not a small task. We can only hope that we have sufficient time to transition as a market.
Yes, talking about that, sufficient time, licensing period. MiCA will come into power in less than 6 months here in Lithuania. Is it enough for you?
I think it's very ambitious. I think it's, to be honest, a bit overly ambitious. In other countries, we see that they have built in a transition framework up to 18 months. We need to not only consider ourselves as market participants, we can file the application and be ready as much as we can, but there is a conversion that needs to happen. The regulator also needs to be ready to supervise us. We need to create a new dialogue. We need to establish new procedures on how to work together. And I think it's wise to take a bit more time from both sides to find an equilibrium on how to do this best. Regulations come in, you can tick all the boxes, but then in practice there will be fine-tuning. And it's this fine-tuning period I think that could be well explored. Certainly to make sure that we give sufficient opportunity to all market participants to become regulated. It should not be such as a hammer to smash, to clean the slate, so to say. I think we need to make sure that as much possible companies could adhere to the new rules and regulations, and then time is something that is up for debate, yes.
Mykolas, do you agree on these points of views? Is it opportunity or challenge for Lithuania, talking about MiCA regulation and talking about licensing period? Is it, too ambitious for Lithuania?
I am convinced that bringing in a regulation to crypto industry is a great opportunity, because that makes the industry more transparent. That protects better customers, ensuring that customers can actually apply in Lithuanian case to the Bank of Lithuania if they are not happy with the service that they have been provided. And that also ensures that there are more risk management, more compliance procedures in place to ensure that the business is managed overall better than what they have been to date. And in Lithuania, we had roughly around 200 crypto industry service providers. Right now, the number is a little bit north of 300. Once we get to the licensing, I think it's going to be less than 100 definitely. And I strongly support Bank of Lithuania's position that they have to be, as a regulator, tough but fair, ensuring that only the best companies that can adhere to the highest standard are actually regulated and licensed here in Lithuania. So I fully support Bank of Lithuania's prudent regulatory policy that they have put in place. And at the same time, I also see the challenge that Bank of Lithuania has taken upon themselves to do everything within 5 months. So starting 1st of January, applications will have to be filed. First of all, the Government National Security Commission will have to review the owners, and that may take a month. And then Bank of Lithuania will have another 4 months to review applications that normally they take 12 to 18 months to review. So it's a big challenge for the Bank of Lithuania, as Philip has mentioned, that companies, they will tick the boxes. They'll have the best lawyers, best advisors working for them. But will the public institutions be prepared to that extent to do their part over the rather short period? I would hope so.
It will be a busy Christmas for them. What steps should the government or businesses should take to maximize these opportunities that arise with MiCA regulation and crypto asset regulation?
So, we can look at the crypto companies themselves, the value that they bring to Lithuania. And taking one of the bigger players, Binance, they're here in Lithuania. Over the last 3 quarters this year, they've paid 25 million euros in taxes. Very few companies in Lithuania have done so, and can be proud about actually paying these types of funds to the government to support public services. Coin payments have also contributed very significantly in paying taxes to Lithuania. They also employ talented people, and again, if we look at the largest retail Scandinavian bank in Lithuania, compared with the largest crypto exchange in Lithuania, salaries in crypto industry are double than what they are in traditional banking. Again, posing a question for young talented people: where do they want to work and where the opportunities are biggest? So I say that we have a huge opportunities here in Lithuania to develop the industry, and for Lithuania to be number one at something meaningful. And I always say that as a Lithuanian, I know how a standard Lithuanian thinks. He says that, I'm better than Latvian, and he already feels better about himself. Then he says, I want to be just a little bit better than Estonian, and then, we'll live like in Sweden. But we very well know that global competition is so much bigger than just our region. And Lithuania working with a blockchain industry and having these significant companies like Coin Payments, Binance, and also startups that grow to become companies like these, can actually Lithuania be meaningful and number one in something that is changing the global financial system?
Philip, let's talk money.
Yes.
Is it true that salaries are much bigger than in traditional banking?
I would say so. If you do a review of the average salaries that are being paid in the FinTech industry and in blockchain, it would be fair to say it's almost double, yes.
What about your case?
My personal salary?
No, your company.
Our company, yeah, we follow the trend. And we have to, because we need to find the best talent in the market. And there is competition. I mean, there are, like Mykolas said, about 300 companies, maybe 100 will be left, but still, you want to find the best talent to be able to produce the best services towards our clients, but also be fully compliant as required by the regulator. So we are ready to invest in that as well. Yes.
Yeah, talking about talent, is this pool is sufficient here in Lithuania?
I think Lithuania is being very humble. You have to recognize that this country has carved itself a niche in financial service sector over multiple years already. If you talk about hundreds of companies in this sector being active, go to Belgium, where I'm from, there's not that many. Go to Germany, there's not that many. So for a small country as Lithuania, it has really carved out a niche for itself and presented itself on the European market, even the global market, as a strong candidate. And I looked at it myself when I moved from Belgium to Lithuania. When you want to incorporate a business, you look at multiple pillars. You look at, is the political landscape positive? Do you have economic substance and advantages? Is there social benefits to it? Is the technology there? And all of those four are very well established here. Many would argue, okay, why don't you look for Palm Beach? But I have to say, I mean, it's very competitive and it's very good. And it would be a shame to see it go. Yes.
Yeah, and the real estate is much cheaper here than in Palm Beach.
Well, depends where you look. Yeah, real estate has seen quite a bit of increase in Vilnius. But again, the overall economic conditions for companies to operate is very favorable, and Lithuania should not be so humble. It has its mark on the industry.
Right. Your company, Coin Payments, specializes in enabling cryptocurrency transactions. Could you elaborate on that?
So what we do specifically, we are a payments company. So we allow internet businesses to accept cryptocurrencies as a method of payment for the services or goods that they sell. So this is an open market. You can use whatever, there's hundreds and thousands of crypto assets. Usually people will make a choice between Bitcoin or stable coins, or not that many, but it is a new economy that has been growing over the past 10 years and really ramping up in the last 5 to 6 years, yes.
Do you see cryptocurrencies becoming a mainstream payment method?
I do, and I will tell you why. Because we can enable clients, our clients are very often international companies. We enable them to receive the funds from their transactions to have in their wallet, on their account in seconds. And they can send it to their subsidiary somewhere else in the world also in seconds. So the cash flow is immediately. Whereas if you have clients that come to your web store and they pay with a card, it could take 2 to 3 days before the money arrives into your bank. You need a cash flow to fund your operations. Whereas in cryptocurrency assets, this is the major benefit. Cash transaction, value transaction is instant and globally instant. It has no intermediaries. It's also therefore a lot cheaper. If you have a lot of intermediaries, a card processor, then intermediary banks, then everybody needs to take its part of the profit. Whereas we process it and it goes immediately into the client's account.
Yeah, Mykolas, what barriers need to be overcome for that to happen? To be on a big scale, to have cryptocurrency as a regular payment method?
I believe that we are gradually going into that direction with MiCA regulation that will become a template for many other countries globally. And we've seen a lot of development right now in Southeast Asia. We see a policy change in the United States. And many actually are looking at how will Europe develop itself over the next year or so with MiCA regulation being put in place. And many will follow suit. And I am convinced that United States, looking at how Europe is seizing the financial technology industry and opportunities, they will not let Europe win. So I am convinced that we will see a lot of initiatives coming out of the United States that are directed to blockchain and crypto industry and solutions as such, yes.
From your perspective, how is Lithuania currently positioned in a global cryptocurrency landscape? And additionally, do you potentially fear changes in government that we are experiencing now? We are in the midst of sharing power and forming new government. Does that scare you a bit?
I'm a great believer in democracy, and we have seen democracy at work just last night in South Korea when some changes took place, but democratic procedures, they took precedent, and we see an order restored. So I'm a great believer whatever government will have, that will be a democratic solution. But at the same time, it is very important that we keep the strategic direction. And as we have spoken before in many instances, that Lithuania has achieved so much in international politics, in diplomacy, having a strategic long-term objective and goal towards the West. Regardless of the left or the right government, whichever is in power, there's a long-term strategy towards the West. It's very important and crucial that we keep the same level of focus with financial industry. And once we took the flag when UK left the European Union, saying that, well, Lithuania could be a space for new companies to set up and start their operations. And new companies came into Lithuania. So to keep on that direction, it is very important that we have the full support of public institutions, because if that changes, to build back the reputation may take a decade or so. So continuity is very important, and I am confident that we will see some significant positive changes with MiCA regulation, because many of the crypto industry companies will have to disclose their ultimate beneficiaries, the owners. They'll have to disclose the source of capital they've used to establish their companies. They'll have to get approval by the government National Security Commission that their operations and their intentions are in accordance with national security interests. They'll have to make sure that the management is actually present here in Lithuania, and it's not just shell companies managed from somewhere else globally. They'll have to make sure the proper risk management in place. They'll have to make sure, according to the Bank of Lithuania, that they provide services to Lithuanian customers, and there's a proper customer service in place as well. So all of these elements will make sure that crypto industry companies will become more of a household names that people have trust in. And I believe it's also up to the crypto companies themselves to demonstrate that maturity in terms of their commitment to social responsibility, to public education. And if before we seen that regulation was focused on anti-money laundering efforts, Now regulation is also adding customer service, market integrity, and many other things that make the regulation important.
Yeah, I guess Philip is living proof how the things are going and how companies are preparing for MiCA regulation. Philip is here in Lithuania, what, 2 years?
2 years and a half already, yes.
Could you tell us a bit about the process of decision to move to Lithuania?
Well, obviously, when you establish a company like ours and the scale of ours, you want to be present. I think it's important. You can, like Mykolas said, having a shell company, everybody can do it. But if you want to really be part of the economy, you need to be present. So therefore, again, looking at what are the components of choosing a place, it's like I said, political, economical, social, and technology, Lithuania stood out. And therefore, making the choice to embed your company, establish it here, there's good rules, transparent rules for companies to come here. It's quite clear on how to operate. We have a very good network as well of consultants, which goes from regulatory consultants to tax consultants to auditors who help us out. The landscape is very well established. So that makes a good, framework to make the decision and say, okay, we will go here, and then we want to build our company in the country itself, being we need local talent. And you cannot do that remotely. You have to really be present. You have to also be present to understand the culture, because culture is important. It's not only the access to talent, but it's how that talent performs and how it represents your company. And that is very well established, I would say, in Lithuania.
Yeah, I believe you forgot one more argument. Your wife is Lithuanian.
Yes. I had a special incentive to come. That is true.
Talking about industry and challenges, what is the biggest challenge you are facing now?
I would say, again, the biggest challenge for us is time. Time to meet the regulatory requirements and time to make the transition to have a solid framework together with the regulator to continue operating and building our industry, to make sure that we make this transition, that it is embraced by the country, and that the country also sees it as an opportunity for itself. It's a short window. 5 to 6 months is really, really ambitious. But I hope we can draw from past performances. We can show that we have decent impact on the economy. I think the financial sector service provides jobs to more than 10,000 or more people. It's quite a lot. And then I'm not talking about adjacent services like tax consultants and those. So it's that is the biggest fear that I have, is that we just don't have enough time to establish this framework properly, and that a lot of participants will drop off.
And what is the biggest opportunity?
The biggest opportunity is just to continue on the road that Lithuania was already on, to establish itself as a landmark piece within the European zone and to attract even more companies, reputable companies over the next years. Also to give opportunities to young people. I think that is important. Young people that are in universities today, to give them the lookout to job opportunities in our sector, which are, like we said, compared to traditional finance, are a bit higher in salary, but that's not the main goal. It's also a very rapidly evolving market. There's continuous learning ongoing. The experience that people have working 2 years in a crypto company could equal 10 years in a traditional finance service bank. So they build up their own portfolio, their own knowledge very fast. And that is a plus for all of our young people as well.
Yeah, Mykolas, do you agree with what Philip just said? How can private and public sectors can collaborate more effectively to drive the growth of the crypto sector?
I'm just trying to count now the numbers that my experience in traditional finance to what it relates into the crypto experience. But so with more than 20 years in traditional finance, I still feel I know very little about crypto, and there's so much to learn. And I guess this is what motivated me to move to this area and to develop my knowledge and also contribute to the industry itself, because it creates enormous opportunities, and the changes that we see are actually really rapid. But as one of the most famous philosophers of our times, Mike Tyson, has said, we all have a plan until we get punched in the face. And so the plan is for the most reputable companies to be licensed here in Lithuania, adhere to the Bank of Lithuania requirements, which I believe those requirements are very prudent, and the Bank of Lithuania is doing a great job in putting them together. But again, the time frame is very short. It's a big pressure for public institutions to ensure that they deliver themselves on the time frame that they've set. Companies will do their part, so the next 6 months will be quite challenging and interesting. But at the same time, we have to take a long-term view and look at what this industry brings to Lithuania as a whole.
What is long term?
Well,
2030.
as Philip has mentioned, that 3 or 5 years ago we couldn't have imagined that we will be in the environment where we are right now, with the blockchain industry developing, and every day is something new, and it changes rapidly. And if we talk about the future of finance, it's very easy to predict where it's going to go. And it's not what Gintarai, you with great respect, or Philip will decide what the future is. It's what the talented individuals will decide. And the most talented ones, in my view, are in Vilnius University Economic Faculty that I came from, is what they're going to decide what they want to do with Lithuanian economy, with the Lithuanian finance industry. And if we were going to ask them, where would they like to work, with a traditional bank or the blockchain industry, I don't know the answer, but I guess most will go with the blockchain industry because of the salaries, the opportunities, the flexible working environment. And they are creating this change, and it's up to them. And I feel that we will see that change rapidly over the next 3 to 5 years, definitely.
All right. Let's wrap it up, and let's face it, people that are still with us and watching or listening are here just to hear one question.
Where is going Bitcoin?
Yes. Is it worth buying it, or should we sell it?
I always say that it's in my personal experience, the best investment is education of my children. The second investment is buying flowers to my wife, and that's always resulted in best IRR of my investment decisions, and I have never regretted that. But then if you have got something left out of those first two decisions, the rest is your investment portfolio. That cryptocurrencies, in my humble view, they shouldn't make more than 2 or 5% of your investment portfolio. Given there's such a huge volatility in crypto assets. But nevertheless, it's important to mention that Bitcoin, or as an investment class, makes it only a very small part of the whole blockchain industry. Payments, the decentralized finance opportunities, the blockchain solutions for logistic companies, the blockchain solutions for the green energy coupling, where we see Deutsche Telekom has made a decision to make significant investments in mining cryptocurrencies using green energy. So there are a lot of solutions and cross-industry benefits that countries now explore. So Bitcoin is important, but there are so many more things that follow as well.
Yeah, Philip, do you own a Bitcoin?
I do own Bitcoin. It's not financial advice, but I myself do. And I think, being in the sector, it's important to also embrace it and see the future in it. I'm very happy to see, for example, this year, the ETFs in the United States take off and get so much inflows of investment. I strongly believe this is just a start, and it will continue to go. I will not put a price number on it where Bitcoin will go. If it succeeds, the sky is the limit. If it fails, it will go to zero. That's what we typically keep in mind.
But you are still keeping it.
I'm keeping it.
All right. Yes. Thank you both for contributions and insights. I would like to remind everyone that today we have had Philipas van Goethemas, the CEO of Coin Payments, and Mykolas Majauskas, President and Board Member of the Crypto Economy Organization. It's clear that the sector is rapidly evolving and it will bring many new topics to talk about. Thank you for watching or listening. Until next time, take care and goodbye.